Up, everybody? How are you doing tonight? It's Wednesday. It's later than normal. Typically on Wednesday, I go live here at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But I decided let's try something a little later. It is 9 p.m. Can you believe it? It's already 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. All right. So today I wanted to talk about self sabotage because I think a lot of us fall into these traps where we're doing good and we just get in our own way. Now, Sherry's asking, she says, greetings from Leavenworth, Kansas. A nice yet breezy evening. A topic tonight has me interested: self sabotage. Most days I feel I am the princess of self sabotage. Well, tell me, what are some things that you do to self sabotage? I think a lot of times we put so much stock, we put so much emphasis on this journey of ours, whether it's keto, vegan, whatever, weight loss, whatever kind of journey it is. We put so much emphasis on specific, particular things that when something doesn't go just perfect or just the way we planned, we self sabotage. A lot of times it could be the scale. The scale is a huge thing that we utilize to self sabotage our self sabotage ourselves with. Too many selves there. But how do we stop that? Now, like I said, Sherry will hopefully let us know what she does to sabotage herself with. I am guilty of that too. I'm guilty with food addiction. John Gugahan says the scale for him. Jeff Foltz is here. Air frying auntie Miss Shauna is here. Bruce is here. Howdy, folks, he says. Charlie Darth Carnivore is here. Good evening, good evening. Just Jason, Keto, and more is here. Good evening, sir. Be sure to tune in Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for my conversation with Mr. Jason from Just Jason, Keto, and more. We are going to talk about a whole host of things that is yet to be determined. Cindy is here. All right. Air frying auntie says, okay, confused. It says live in 55 minutes, March 6th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on my end. Well, it is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I initially had set this for 2 p.m. today, and then I was talking with Chandra about this, and we decided 8 o'clock would be good. And then we were going to pick up the girl from school today and decided, well, 8 o'clock didn't make sense because I'm going to get into it, and 8:30 is when Autumn and Richard go live, and I didn't want to step on their live. I wanted to be involved with their live. So that's why I went with 9 o'clock. And they ended their live early. I guess there just wasn't enough crowd participation. I was probably a little over participatory there, if you will. Charlie asked, Darth Carnivore says, isn't self-sabotage the name of a Beastie Boys record? It was just sabotage. Listen, no, y'all, it's a sabotage. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Shauna says a whole bag instead of just bringing up one serving of whatever I eat. Yes. We know what to do. We know, and our judgment, our lack of judgment at times will get in our way. We know better. I know not to go out to fast food. I know not to go and get things. Sherry says, I snack all day at work. However, it is usually on hard salami. I believe it is the boredom. Snacking is just one of those things. So I was a huge snacker, a grazer. You just eat all day. I found if I can keep myself busy, then I'm less likely to snack and do all that stuff. The busier that I keep myself, the more focused I can remain on a task, the better for myself, right? So I don't mess around with the scale. I do weigh myself from time to time just to kind of get an idea of where I am, but I don't do it daily because I know that those fluctuations can cause me to not care. I'm guilty of that too. The scale is a filthy, filthy liar, even though it is merely a tool to show how gravity is impacting your body. I mean, realistically, that's what it's doing. The effects of gravity on your body and the ground on a scale shows you how much you weigh. But that doesn't tell the whole story. And we let that little tiny piece of a story dictate our self worth. We let that dictate how we perceive ourselves. And it allows us to settle into self sabotage and become a multiple day, week long, month long, sometimes 6 month long thing. And we shouldn't. Sharon said, "This is a good time. I'm usually finished with treading and having relaxation." Yeah, yeah. My scale was sent to the closet 3 years ago, says Jason. Okay. Ours is basically under the trash can in the bathroom. So we have to move the trash can, pull it out, got to lift it, make sure there's no like, like rogue, like Q-tips or whatever that fall onto the floor or whatever. And because a Q-tip can make you look like you lost 100 pounds, but you just got to make sure that, the floor is clean underneath. All the debris is removed, all that stuff you put in the trash can, you're good to go, right? So the trash is what derails me. Trash food derails me for sure, right? So yeah, just the thing about self sabotage, like for me, like the other day, I was in the process of making the keto chow pudding video that I released this week. If you haven't watched that, go check it out. It's up on the channel, and let me know what you think in the comments on that. But I was at the grocery store because I had to go pick up some more avocado oil, some fresh avocado oil, some fresh shavacado, free shavacado. Um, I had to go pick that up, and then I was like, you know what? I'm making pudding. Let me go ahead and get some of these sugar-free um, Jello pudding snacks. Put it in the cart. Got home, made the video. Was upset with the video. Wasn't planning on putting the video out. Ate 2 pudding snacks, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, you know what? These pudding snacks taste delicious. The chocolate is like, because it was like the swirl, the chocolate with the vanilla in the middle. It tasted so good. It was rich. It had like a lot more vanilla flavor than normal. It had a lot more chocolate flavor than normal. The lid was red, which I thought was strange. And then I realized, you know what? I bought the full sugar stuff by mistake. Now, how does this play into self sabotage? That was an innocent mistake, and I ate them by mistake, not realizing that they were the full sugar. The self sabotage comes into play as I didn't throw them in the garbage. I ate the rest of them. For shame. For shame. And then I had some real chicken nuggets that I made from our freezer because our granddaughter lives or doesn't, our granddaughter is here and we do things like make her chicken nuggets because it's a protein source. Yeah, it's carby for her, for anybody, but it's something that she'll actually eat from time to time, but she hasn't been eating them. And I'm thinking, you know what? I want to make sure that those don't go to waste. So I made some. Self sabotage. I know better. I, of course, 100% know better. But it is so easy sometimes once you have that little bitty slip up. Well, I made the mistake and bought the wrong pudding and I ate those. Now I'm going to have this too. And it doesn't make any sense. How does it make sense? It doesn't. I'm sure there's some Freudian explanation, some Carl Jung Freudian kind of thing out there that could explain this all the way. Maybe. Let's see. John Guggenheim says, I have worked on not giving the number on the scale so much thought. Okay. He said, oops, he pressed enter on before he was done. So you constantly weigh the trash. Yeah, the trash is constantly being weighed. Yes, yes, yes. Beverly says, hi from Nebraska. I like the topic tonight. I fall into sabotaging by not listening to my satiety signals and just keep eating. Often I realize I'm tense or feeling anxious. Yeah, that's a thing. Like just sitting and watching TV is a huge thing for us because we'll sit down to watch TV because that's kind of one of the one things that Shannon and I will do together is sit down to watch a TV show and we'll get snacks and we'll sit in front of the TV and have snacks. If I'm in my office and working on editing videos, I don't necessarily bring food in the office. Now I did have a second coffee today. I normally have one of these, one coffee beverage throughout the day. This is a 32 ounce cup. This is the one of the ones we got from Buc-ee's. It doesn't have a logo on it, but it's the brand from Buc-ee's. So I typically have just one of these a day. Today it was a two of these day. Now that's not so great because you know that there's some carbs in coffee. Um, it is what it is. There's carbs in the heavy cream that I put in it. It is what it is. I had some eggs and I had some sausage today, so it is what it is. Um, so I think snacking is one of the things that gets us, gets us all. It kind of does really, really gets us because it's easy, because it's comforting. That's why I probably used to smoke when I did. It was a comforting thing to do. I could just smoke and I was, you know what I mean? Like just it was I used to joke around like if you have cigarettes and you're a smoker, you're never bored because you can go out and you have something to do. If you have to go outside to smoke, well, it gives you something to do. You have an excuse to go outside and walk around. If you or go out and socialize. If you're at a job where you have to go outside and smoke, then you go out and smoke, and there's typically people out there who smoke too, and you socialize. I got to know all kinds of people when I smoked. That transitioned into coffee. So that was a thing. So when I quit smoking in 2010, I picked up a coffee habit. I was smoking about a pack every other day, every third day. So it wasn't an extreme heavy smoker, but I just smoked that way for a long time. And then when I quit, I went and I started picking up and getting coffee every day. So I was paying $2.50 a cup for coffee every day. And that adds up. That's about the same price as I was spending on cigarettes, maybe a little bit more. So I was trying to save money, but it didn't really work. I mean, I was obviously doing something for my health that was far more beneficial than smoking by drinking coffee, right? It just wasn't saving me any money. Let's see. Shauna says, I would put these on the screen, but they're so small, they just don't show up very good. So you can see they just don't show up very well. So Shauna says, my scale has an app that goes with it. So I do get good data from it, but maybe only about once or twice a month. Yeah, I like that. Whenever I go to utilize my app or my scale has an app as well. And when I'm doing like a 7-day fast, I will utilize my scale and I will log into the app and it'll help me keep track of how much I've lost or gained or whatever, right? So that is very helpful. It does show a trend. And realistically, that's all you really need from a scale is just a trend. How are you trending? There was somebody on Instagram. She started at like 499 pounds and she's trying to lose weight. She's a few weeks into it and she's down like from 499, she's down to like 439 or something right now. And she had something where she had gained like 2 pounds over the course of a day, and she was, the normal, let's beat myself up over this. And I was like, I mean, there's been days where I've fasted and had nothing but water and gained weight. So you can do everything right and the scale will still go up sometimes. It's the nature of how it works. So that's where you got to make sure you're understanding to not beat yourself up over one day, one instance of the scale. be sure to concentrate on the trend. Always, what's the trend? That's why I'm very adamant about consistency over perfection, because we're never going to be perfect. We're never going to get everything right, but we can get enough right that we can go in the right direction. So, out of a month, if you have a cheat meal out of a month, you can let that you can self sabotage all you want over that cheat meal, or you can take a step back and look at, okay, there were 30 days, for example, in a month, right? 30 days in this month. Two, if you're a person who does 2 meals a day, 3 meals a day, or 1 meal a day, say you do 3 meals in a day, that's 90 meals. 90 meals. And then so basically you had one cheat meal out of 90. You have to take a step back sometimes and look at the big picture and look at, you were consistent 89 meals out of 90. One cheat meal. Not the end of the world. And we can't let ourselves derail over something like that. Sharon says, I know if I buy nuts, I will not have any portion control. I'll eat a 2 pound bag of raw almonds within less than a week. Nibble here, nibble there, and all gone. Yeah, 100%. I look at the mixed nuts at Costco all the time, the salted mixed nuts, because they've got like peanuts and cashews and almonds, and I'm like, ooh, if because I really love cashews, but cashews are a very carb heavy nut. So if I look at a thing of mixed nuts, if I have a handful, I'm going to get a couple of cashews in there. It's not going to be so bad. But can I stop at one handful? I don't think I can. So I have not yet bought them, because Costco used to sell, and I can't even think of what it is, but it was like these cheese crisp things, but it was like a snack mix. It's like a ranch snack mix that they carried at Costco for a while. It's expensive at the stores, but this was like, a decent sized bag for $10. Maybe it might even have been more than $10. I think it might have been 12 or $13 for this bag, but it was so good that I would buy it. It had cashews and it had cheese crisps and almonds and it had all the seasoning in it. It was probably awful for me, but I would put it into like one of those red Solo cups. And if you understand the lines of a red Solo cup, like there's an ounce line, there's a 5 ounce line, there's a 12 ounce line, and a 16 ounce line on those cups, especially if you get the 18 ounce cups. There's all those lines because they're meant for parties. So there's a line for an ounce, so that's for booze. There's an ounce, there's a 5 ounce that'll be for a glass of wine, 12 ounce for a beer, 16 ounce for a beer. So those lines are in a red Solo cup just so you have a reference. And I would, obviously fill the cup halfway up with those and just sit and just kind of just throw them back watching TV. That should have had like 20 servings in it, but I would eat it in like 4 servings. Self control is, or the lack of self control is part of self sabotage. Like, so thankfully, they don't carry them anymore. So I can't buy them. So that's the thing. Like for me, self control and self sabotage, I can't self sabotage if I don't bring those things into the house. So just like when we have a cheat meal, or we go out to dinner, and we're gonna have something that's not so much on plan, or it's like plan adjacent, if you will. We won't bring the leftovers home. That way, we can't eat the rest tomorrow. So it or like back on Christmas Eve, we ordered pizzas and we had the kids take everything home. I mean, it was, we planned for the pizzas. We went and ordered them, picked them up for Christmas Eve, and then we had what we wanted, and then we sent the rest home with the kids. Because if there was pizza Christmas morning, because we didn't have to get up and do Santa here, so we just got up when the kids were coming over and we made breakfast. So we just kind of got up when we wanted to. But if we would have done that, then we would have been snacking on pizza while we were making breakfast. So you have to kind of be proactive. Jason says, nuts get me all the time. Yeah, 100%. I mean, and I know how they are, because I mean, they're so unassuming too. And they're so expensive. Shauna says air fry an auntie, for those who are curious. So same nuts, pork rinds, pepitas. It all stays down in the garage pantry. So that's the thing. Like with pork rinds, for me, I understand that pork rinds, like the big bag, that's a single serve. So when I bring that in to watch TV, I'm not super concerned with snacks like pork rinds. I know they're calorie dense, they're calorically dense, and calories in some aspects matter and some they don't. That's not necessarily what this discussion is about, but understanding that if you get a big bag of pork rinds, there may be 10 servings in that bag. You're looking at 10 total carbs if there's a flavoring on it, right? So you get like when Costco was having the pork and good pork rinds, and they would carry the white cheddar, the big bags of white cheddar. I think there were 6 or 10 servings, 14 servings. I can't remember, to be honest with you. But basically, I would eat maybe half the bag sometimes the whole bag. The problem would be if I had went and then purchased like French onion dip to go along with it, because then I'm not only moderating the pork rinds, but then I'm moderating the dip as well, and that stuff adds up so fast. 2 tablespoons is like 2 to 3 carbs, total carbs. Have you ever had just 2 tablespoons of dip? Nope, not me, ever. Maybe half the container, so 8 ounces, however many tablespoons is in 8 ounces. Or if you get the bigger container, the 24-ounce container. I think the biggest contributor for me of my own sabotage is my inability to moderate what I put in the shopping cart, because I know I can't moderate what I put in my mouth if it's in the house. So if we buy ice cream bars, what am I going to do with ice cream bars? I'm going to eat 2 ice cream bars or 3 ice cream bars. They're keto, right? I can eat 3 of them. And I've had people tell me, "Well, they're not keto if you eat 4 of them." That's the thing, is I can't moderate food like that. I have to be proactive with the food that I keep in the house. So, Charlie says, "I don't moderate." Darth Carnivore Charlie, "I don't moderate nuts well either. Self-sabotage would be being aware of this, but continuing to buy cans of nuts." Yes, Charlie, 1000%. 1000%. And Sharon hit the nails right on the head. Sharon Holloway said it's the texture. Texture for me of food goes almost farther along than the taste. Because as I've noticed, even with any kind of food, 2 to 3 bites in and you're not even really tasting it anymore. Doesn't matter what it is. You're not tasting it all that much anymore. The taste receptors have kind of overloaded, and now you're just floating on texture and satiety signals. And I'm sure that there's some scientific reason for this. But the fact that we live in such abundance with food that we can just eat and eat and eat and eat. I used to eat so much food that I would eat till I was to the point where I thought if I moved too fast, I might literally explode. And that's not even me trying to just be colorful. That is a reality of how I felt. I would eat terrible food in such quantities. It's no surprise that I got to be over 400 pounds because I cannot moderate. I cannot keep myself from sabotaging and getting in my own way unless I'm doing this. Unless I'm living a ketogenic lifestyle, I can't keep myself under control. It helps with the satiety issues. It helps with food addiction issues, with binge eating and all that stuff. I basically binge eat or would binge eat every night dinner. If I didn't feel so stuffed I was going to be almost sick, I wasn't done eating. That's where I was done. And I don't think a lot of people truly understand that. Like, You know, there's people in our lives who have said things and looked us right in the face and said, you wouldn't be so big if you did more of this and less of this. Are they wrong? No. But is it easy? Also, no. But also, they don't understand the struggle, the addiction, the call for food. I would think all day about that stuff of how I was going to eat that night. I still think about food all the time. Now I am in a better situation where the food that I'm thinking about is typically allowing me to maintain control of my own body, my own satiety, and I can go hours and hours a day, 2 days sometimes without even remembering to eat, and I don't even notice it. Today I didn't eat till like 3 o'clock. And it was just because I knew I had things I needed to do tonight that I needed to get eating out of the way. So that didn't interfere with the things that I needed to do. Really anymore, I try to maintain that level of food where food is well, I better get it done now so I don't have to worry about it later. Like tonight I made breakfast sausages and eggs, pork sausages and eggs. Like the ones from Costco are delicious. Like 1 carb for 3 sausages, and they're not that expensive, and the girl seems to like them, and they taste pretty good with eggs. So a lot of times it's frozen burgers and eggs. Eggs, big staple. They're expensive, but no matter I can't say that no matter how expensive they get, they're still more affordable than other sources of protein. But, I mean, that's kinda where we are because I think Walmart was selling them for almost $15 for 5 dozen. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Um, but yeah, the texture, it's huge. Like, once I start, I just can't stop. That's like, if I were to have a can of Pringles, I'm eating the whole can because of the texture. It's just the mindless crunching. Pork rinds, same thing. So I have to make sure that things that I put in my grasp or the things that I'm going to be filling myself with are going to be highly, there's going to be a large satiety component with it. It's going to make me full for longer. I'm not going to be hungry. I'm still going to dig through the house. One of the biggest things I do is dig through the house looking for things to snack on and then get angry at myself because I didn't buy anything to snack on. How is that? How strange, how weird is that? How weird is that for me to come to you and tell you one thing that I have to do to myself is to just not buy it because I know I'm going to go looking for it even though I didn't buy it. I'll stand and look in the fridge looking for something, knowing it's not there. I'll look in the freezer, knowing there's nothing there. Look in the pantry. Chandra gets so irritated with me because the pantry is kind of an erratic mess. But I think it's better that it's an erratic mess because I'll just look at it and go, well, it's going to be too difficult to move this cart out of the way. So then I'm not going to go and look for hoping there might be something behind it. Because if I can't move the cart, then I'm most likely not going to move the cart and then go hunting for what might be behind it because the cart is kind of where we will store things that we're going to make videos on. And we haven't been doing that as much. We haven't been making as many review videos as we used to, partially because we've kind of gotten to the point now where there aren't as many things to review. Um, and they don't really get a lot of views in the first place. They're not People just don't really get to. There's not a lot of response. They might get 50 to 100 views. So if you guys want stuff to watch things, let us know what you want to watch and we'll make those videos. I mean, that's really what we're here for, to build community and to make content that you want to watch. That's why I want to do these types of lives, because these types of live videos can reach an audience that may be unsuspecting. They may not really realize that this is what they're interested in. They may come across us and hear us talking, see in the chat what we're talking about, sharing our stories, and it might pique their interest and maybe help somebody. I want to be a lighthouse and hopefully utilize this platform and be a beacon for somebody to draw people in who may not even realize they need help. The help is even out there. because that's where I was. Like I said, I was eating every night like I was eating food like an uncontrolled alcoholic drinks alcohol. 100%. Instead of a fifth of whiskey, it was macaroni and cheese, pizza rolls, corn dog nuggets, whatever. Stop at White Castle, get 6 or 8 double cheeseburgers, a sack of fries, large shake, and then just sit in my room and watch TV and eat till I can't barely breathe, and then pass out because of the carb load. Shauna says, "Same, Charlie. In fact, yesterday I had 2 cans of mixed nuts in my cart because I needed a price and decided it was just to put both back." I have picked up those bags of mixed nuts at Costco so many times and just put them back. It doesn't hurt that they're like $15 a bag. So that being such a bulk price is something that helps me to keep from buying it, you know. Jess says, "Nuts used to get me, now it's peanut butter." Yeah, I still love peanut butter. Sometimes I'll have a couple spoonfuls. Sometimes if we have like keto bread or something in the house, I'll just make a couple of peanut butter sandwiches. My mom got me onto peanut butter and butter sandwiches. I used to take peanut butter and butter sandwiches to lunch a lot of the times too when I was working in the warehouse. And I don't know if you ever had peanut butter and butter sandwiches. Or the other night, I had bought some bologna and I had made myself peanut butter and bologna sandwiches. Chandra about gagged herself into oblivion because she doesn't like bologna. And the idea of putting bologna and peanut butter together sounds awful to her. And I'm thinking, we grew up basically on the same street. Now the street doesn't connect. It ends at one spot and picks up at a different, like her street was the same number as mine, but it was like a dead end. And same street, same school district, 19 days apart, didn't meet until 11, 12 years ago. How weird. We would, she worked at places that I would hang out. We even knew some of the same people, just never met. We grew up vastly different. I grew up eating, you know, Chef Boyardee pizza from a box, fish sticks and carrots. My mom would add extra sugar to the carrots. Um, Bologna sandwiches, hot dogs. That's the stuff that we grew up eating. And her mom was like, basically would cook like a gourmet chef every night. And we have completely different palates. Now we do have, obviously there's the Venn diagram where we do intersect with certain things, sweet things. We love pizza. Now what we like on our pizza is different. We love sushi, and that's one of the things that we will go off plan sometimes and go get sushi, you know. Let me see. You said you messaged me? Let me see what you said here. I'm live, right? You guys can see me, right? I don't know what's going on. So, um, let's see. Peanut butter is the worst thing. I have a soft, crunchy, savory, sweet thing when I have, let's see, other balance. Got to go from chat. Phone is about to die. Well, thank you for being here. OMG, my YouTube has been playing on my Roku on my TV, which is off. Keto Cheeto. Hello, Keto Cheeto. How are you doing? Thank you for being here. Let's see. Sean, I never knew that about red solo cups. Yeah, maybe I need to make a video about that. I'm sure there's videos out there about that. Jahil says nuts get him all the time. I bet they do. Um, Actually, what gets me to cheat is freaking Wingstop. I swear they have crack in those wings. Yeah, we love going to getting wings. Wings are one of those things that I don't want to cook for myself. I don't want to get them and cut them and do all that stuff, and just BW3s is where we'll go. I've never had Wingstop. I don't know. I know that they probably do not cook in good oils. I do know that there is an app out there called Seed Oil Out or something like that. I think um, they have a YouTube channel with shorts. I don't know if it. I think it just kind of showcases primarily in the New York, like the New York City area. That'll be something that I'll have to look into and maybe make a video about if it is kind of all over. Maybe something that we could all start kind of tackling and putting on, so we know where and what restaurants are carrying no seed oils. Now, no seed oils doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be a keto restaurant. So, I mean, they can still cook. It's like the Heart Attack Grill in Las Vegas. They cook their French fries in lard. Doesn't make their French fries keto, but they do it because lard is one of those things that everyone thinks is going to give you a heart attack, unbeknownst that it's actually a healthier option, which I think is ironic. Let's see. Shauna says, I noticed that they're putting a Wingstop on the other side of town. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know if their wings are breaded. I've never been there. I've had wings at other places. Like we went and had a meetup a couple of weeks ago in Avon at what was that place called? Someone will tell me in the because I know Charlie was there with me. But we got wings there, and they were like lightly breaded because there was like you can tell there's like an aftertaste of like a wheat aftertaste. So they were good, but they definitely had like a Swedish kind of a sweet aftertaste. You like that you would kind of reference with like a breading. They didn't feel breaded, but because they were smoked. But yeah, I still don't know how people in the chat or how to at people in the chat. I've tried at with the name. Are you on your phone, Jahil? Because if you're on your phone, that's why. So in order to add people and have it light up, you got to be on a computer. They do have plain unbreaded wings at Wingstop that are keto, but I think they use like canola or seed oil of some flavor. Like there was that video we were talking about on my Sunday live. There was a guy that had this chocolate chip cookie recipe. The recipe was amazing, and he was like, "Well, here's some, like a quarter cup of Crisco," and everybody was talking about Crisco, and I think he was taking it the wrong way because people were kind of getting onto him about Crisco, and he's like, "This is my keto journey, whatever I need to do to stay on track," and I'm like, "Well, yes, but seed oils are just another one of those things that you have to kind of understand." Because I guess he liked the texture better of the neutral flavor of Crisco or whatever better than like lard or whatever. But and he went and deleted all the comments about the Crisco, which his channel, his comments, totally understandable. But I don't think anybody was being rude. I don't think anybody was being obnoxious outside of the fact that people were, and I did put a comment. I was like, as a keto recipe, you're probably going to get a lot more pushback about Crisco than if you would, about the Crisco usage. That's just going to be kind of what happens. And he put a statement up on his channel or up on the video or whatever. And yeah, I did tag him in that last video. So if you go in the description, you can find his channel and find the video. But don't go saying anything about the Crisco. That's none of our business. But I just always want to say, like, I hope that people understand that some of us have at least coming in with better intentions and not trying to be trolls about things like Crisco. We just want to try and share the knowledge and understanding and all that stuff. Um, Shauna says, OMG, yeah, as much as I like the cocoa in, I don't think I'll be buying much. Open jar plus spoon equals disaster snack. Yeah, we ordered 5 containers of that the other day. He sent us 6, and I think we are down to 4. I think we've already been through one container and there's another container open. So realistically, that's a thing to keep Chandra happy. I try to stay away from it. I love it. It's so good. Um, Sharon says, today was Costco shopping. I did well until Costco peanut butter. I find it freezes well and slows me down. I've never frozen peanut butter because we don't have, even though we have 3 freezers, we have the freezer that's attached to our refrigerator, which is a decent size. And then we have 2 garage freezers. Yeah, so that's just kind of one of those weird things, right? They're full of stuff. As I just don't have room with 3 freezers. We've been trying to pull more things out of the freezers instead of buying stuff recently. So I have kind of opened up room in some of the freezers. There is a little more room, but probably not to buy peanut butter because we don't really eat peanut butter all that often. We have some of the no sugar and we have some of the natural peanut butter. Um, yeah. Shauna says, I do most of my grocery shopping via Instacart because I find I buy way less keto friendly snacks than if I see them in the store. Yeah. Well, our problem is we buy them thinking we're going to make a video, and then we get home and we eat them while we watch TV. So we've had less ability to moderate and kind of, if I don't put it in the closet, if I don't put it in the closet out of sight, out of mind, knowingly, I'm going to make a video on this, or we're going to sit down and do a review of this. We bought some things from Walmart the other day. We had 2 bags of it to do a review. We ate both bags, and I don't even know which Walmart we got it from to go back to get more to do a review on it. So I probably won't. Um, I'm having eating issues, says Jahil. At the moment, I am not sure. Overeating every single day, and when I tell people, they don't take me seriously because I'm not 600 pounds, not even my therapist. So that's a weird thing, right? Because you understand that you're overeating. Have you tried tracking to see exactly like how much and where? Maybe like a food journal might help you kind of get to the bottom of it because I doubt that's something that your therapist is going to say. And again, I'm not any kind of healthcare professional, not a doctor, nurse, health coach, anything like that. But I would say writing down everything you eat and kind of getting an understanding of what is you're eating, whether or not you're writing down calories, carbs, sugars, whatever, or just what you're eating and how much could give you an understanding and help you pinpoint what's causing the issue, where your issue is, and with what foods your issue is. And then maybe you can moderate by making sure that those things aren't in the house. Now, for Chandra and myself, we do have a lot more control now because we're not buying things for kids. We used to have 3 kids living in the house. Now we have a granddaughter here every day, but she eats what we cook. She hasn't got to the age now where she gets things that I mean, we still have like some Smart Sweet Suckers, and sometimes we'll get her snack foods that she likes, really and just to hope that she'll actually eat something. Because realistically, trying to get her to eat is one of the biggest things. So we do try different things, kind of throwing things at the wall to see what sticks, but we do try to keep it within a certain health range for the most part. Because she's not a big sweets person. She's not really into like candy. She will say she is, but she won't then really eat it. But I think realistically, trying to keep tabs on what you have in the house, what what you're consuming could really lend yourself to that. So, and then Sharon says, for myself, I found that strict tracking helps the most. Portion control, me and I do, yeah, with portion controls and helps you. Yeah, that's an issue with me is tracking would probably be the worst thing. Because when we first started this way back when, everything was being tracked in my fitness pal, and I was doing that every day. And I was it was just, if I keep doing this, I'm gonna fail. So I had to kind of come to terms with some sort of intuitive way to eat for myself. And that's kind of moderating what we bring, excuse me, into the house in general. Because if I bring it in the house, I'm going to eat it. And if I don't bring it in the house, I can't eat it. So it's the same thing that Sharon just said, or Sherry said, yeah, hit the nail on the head. with that hunting for snacks and being mad at myself for not buying snacks, I'll buy stuff for Chandra and bring it home for her and then be angry with me because I was at the store and I didn't buy me things. I will get so mad. Not angry, but just frustrated, like, and I know it's for the better, but it's a reoccurring theme. It happens all the time. And I have been going to the grocery store less. I do have to go to Costco tomorrow. Um, but thankfully, Costco hasn't been having a lot of snacks. They haven't been having too much with keto snacks. I did get one of their double boxes of the cereal that they had. I can't even think of the name of it right now. They had like some fruity cereal, and I got that. It's pretty good as far as keto cereal is concerned. I actually bought another box. We were at Fresh Time the other day, and they had a box of cereal, the same brand. It's not Cereal School. I can't remember what it is. I imagine somebody will put it in the chat down below. But I bought some birthday cake flavor. It was okay. But again, like that's like basically one box is one bowl of cereal. I mean, if I don't want it to be messy, I can break it into two bowls. But then I do like the Fairlife milk. So Fairlife is a lower carb. It's like 6 grams of carbs per serving versus regular milk is 12. And I get the whole milk, and it's pretty good. It's kind of a treat snack type thing, but I can't keep it in the house. Um, just Jason says 4 cheeseburgers, 4 eggs, hot banana peppers, and kimchi for dinner tonight. Haven't even thought about eating again. Prioritizing protein and fat in meals is really important to me. Yeah, that's the things. Like I will eat 4 burger patties. Then I'll make 6 to 8 eggs, depending on how hungry I am, and then I will put in some pickles. Sometimes an obscene amount of pickles. If you've seen any of my stories over on Instagram, like, is this too many pickles? Asking for a friend, and then, you know, but that really does help, like prioritizing the fat. Or like if I'm making something and I'll cook something in fat, like the sausages, and then I'll pull the sausages out and pour the eggs right over all the fat, so that I'm getting all that extra fat. That really amps up the satiety issue. So I usually don't even finish eating. Like I made myself 8 eggs today and like 10 sausages or 12 sausages. So 12 sausages would have been 4 carbs, and then the eggs about another 4 carbs, so 8 total carbs for a whole huge meal that I couldn't even finish. There were still some sausages left over, so I didn't even eat all of it. So, Sherry says, tips on learning to be honest with yourself. I would like to have a coach of some type, but pretty sure I would be a liar. And then who am I cheating? That's the thing. So that's one thing when we see all of these quote unquote health studies that are based on surveys that are done by questionnaire over a year, over 5 years, or whatever. How often have you eaten X, Y, or Z over the last year? Once a day, twice a week? How are you going to remember? You're going to get an understanding of, did I eat red meat every day? Did I eat red meat every third day? I don't know. I can't tell you what I ate yesterday. I mean, I can, because it's pretty much the same thing I eat almost every day. Some sort of meat and some eggs. Unless I have a bad day, then I may, like last night I had some cereal while watching TV. What are you going to do? But it's in the house. So I would be nice to be able to have something like that and have someone who can really kind of work with you and talk through that and all that stuff. But I don't think, if you can't trust yourself to be honest with them, then I would say it's not worth the money. And I think for me, having this outlet here, I'm not beholden to anybody but you guys and myself. And I will often be far more honest than I even like sometimes, just because I want to make sure that all of you understand. So, because if I'm not being honest, then there's no point in me doing this. So I try to be as honest as I can. Now, do I do everything? No. Do I tell you every single thing? To the best of my ability, I try. I do put forth the effort. So consistency, if like me eating those chicken nuggets the other day, I didn't want to tell you that I ate those chicken nuggets and I put them in the air fryer. and then I cooked them for 20 minutes, and then I ate them, and they were so delicious. And then I was dipping them in at least the sugar free, the no sugar added sweet baby rays with some sriracha. If I don't tell you things, you don't know. But if I don't tell you things, then I am not helping me. I'm not helping myself. I'm not helping you. And you're here, hopefully, to find some sort of accountability for yourself. I'm here to find accountability for myself and to be a beacon to help others. And if I can't be honest, then what's the point? Now, I'm not infallible. I'm not some guru. I'm not someone to be followed and be, I'm not somebody that's always right. I'm not somebody who is, I don't know. I just worry too sometimes that people will follow and everything I say you're going to do. And that's terrifying to me because I'm just a guy who makes my own mistakes and I share them with you. Um, I'm not right about everything. I'm not right about most things. I'm a human being. Um, it's Shander that's a lizard. Let's see. We've got some other questions. Um, Shauna says she doesn't miss the carb coma. Sometimes a carb coma is actually kind of nice. Sometimes. And it happens sometimes. You don't even realize it. It'll sneak up on you like you're like, oh wait, that was way more carby than I. It used to happen to me when I was eating like Quest cookies because they're big. And I would eat one, and that's how I knew they were far more carby than they're letting on because I would eat one and get dozy and fall asleep watching TV, trying to watch Game of Thrones or something like that, right? PB and butter Sammy on sourdough toasted. You know what? You're speaking my love language. Sharon says I've done triple B&E twice, saw some results, but I never had that magic satiety feeling. That's the thing that I have issues with triple B&E as well. Triple B&E for me, to be totally truthfully honest, is a very difficult proposition because it is a challenge. For me, most days I live the triple B&E lifestyle. Bacon, eggs, beef. Sometimes I'll have some sausage. That's a typical meal for me. But when it is a daunting challenge or a commitment that I've made, because I learned a while ago from another channel that looking at it as a challenge is a lot more difficult than looking at it as a commitment. And I make commitments to myself to do fasting. I make commitments to myself to do things like triple B&E, but I find that mentally there's a mental disconnect or a struggle as soon as you put something like triple B&E in place because then it's do or die. It's I have to do this or I'm failing. If I don't do this, I fail. And I can only eat triple B&E right now because I'm doing this triple B&E challenge or I've made this triple B&E commitment. I've made this commitment to myself and to others, especially for someone like me doing it publicly. I will say we are going to do triple B&E for X amount of time, and then I'm beholden to you, and that makes there's that mental struggle, that mental disconnect that happens to makes it almost impossible to stay strict triple B&E. Where if I would just do it and not even make it a thing, it would probably be so much easier because that's typically how I live my daily life. Burger, eggs, bacon, butter, coffee. But as soon as I add that commitment component to it, or a public component to it, or a challenge component to it, then I have so many struggles. And the satiety is so difficult. You're right. I find difficulty with triple B&E finding satiety, but it's not triple B&E. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's a mental disconnect. I think there is a mental challenge involved there because you've set a goal. Now you have to live with the fact that you're trying to reach that goal. And that goal means you can only eat this, this, and this. And now you want everything else. So if you're doing like normal keto, then you can have broccoli on a Tuesday. Or you can go out and have BW3s and have some chicken wings on a Wednesday night and go see a movie. Maybe sneak some popcorn, you know? But when you're doing it like a commitment like Triple B and E or Carnivore or whatever, you've self-limited, and I think that really does put it does put strain on yourself. I don't know, maybe and let me know if that makes sense. Let's see. Talking about tri-tip. Let's see. I was thinking nearly alone and IP and browned off the F. Okay, I don't know what that is. Um, Jason says to Sherry, that is one of my big hurdles in life in lifestyle changes. Personally, my accountability comes from my why. Once you have found what drives you to do better, you will be able to learn to lean on it. 100%. So that's a 100%, right? So your why drives the what. So if you figured out why you need to do something, now you have to figure out what it is you're going to do. And once you figure out your what, then you can move on to how you're going to accomplish that. So you have to figure out your why, which is I have an eating disorder and I have food addiction issues and I need to lose 200 pounds and I need to do whatever. So that's the why. And then what are you going to do about it? I'm going to change my eating. I'm going to change my lifestyle. I'm going to eat better and I'm going to, start moving more when it's appropriate. So your why, your what, and then how are you going to execute that? Well, I'm going to do keto, carnivore, triple B and E. And along the way, hopefully you're going to find out the most important piece of that entire puzzle. And that's, who are you really? Because you can find your why, you can find your what, you can find your how, but until you take the time to figure out who you are, you're going to struggle. I know that sounds guru-y as all hell, right? And that's not my intention, but I think if you break it down like that, I think it really does help. And Charlie said Smoky Bones. Yeah, we went to Smoky Bones, and I looked up after the fact. I should have looked at their. I don't really care where we go really for a meetup, but if we're going somewhere and we're going to be taking up a table and we have to purchase some food, I want to make sure hopefully get some of the cleanest food. So I got the wings. Everyone told me that they're good wings. The wings were phenomenal. They tasted amazing, but they were somewhere between like, I think there were 16 of them. So they were between like 16 and 24 carbs for 16 wings. Now, is that an end of the world? No. If I had celiac, I probably would have been not having a good day. But luckily for me, that's not an issue. So it wasn't that big of a deal for me. So, let's take a look here. Involved with communities like this are really important too. We all have our struggles and we talk about them. Yeah, being here, understanding that you are not alone in your struggle, understanding that you are not the only one dealing with something. Like for me, understanding like I don't know if any of you are familiar with Mike Gorman. Gormy does keto. Gormy goes keto. If any of you familiar with him, he's got a YouTube channel. He's got a podcast. He's got an Instagram. He is a phenomenal, phenomenal person. And I've gotten to know him a little bit over the years. And in listening to him in this community over the years, I found things about myself that I had no idea. Like I've got a weird bump at the bottom of my sternum. I had no idea that it's a deformation from being overweight because he has it too. A couple of things that he brought up that I was like, oh my God, I never would have even I just thought it was a weird bump. I was worried about it. But now I know it's like I was so heavy that my bones deformed. How weird is that shit? That'll make your day. But being involved in this community is one of the most important things for me because I understand that I am a social person And as much as I want to be interacting with people in a personal setting, it is not necessarily feasible because all of you are spread across. There's people, I mean, there are people in my state, there are people in other states, there's people all over the world. I've had an opportunity to sit down and talk with people all over the world. I've talked with people from Australia, from like England, and all kinds of places. In Jakarta, I can't even think where that's from. My geography is not good right now. I'm a simple dumb human. But you know what I mean? Like just the idea that we can come together and that we can put something like this together and we can come together on a night like this and talk and interact. Let's see. I remade my mom's wire-bound notebook cookbook, made a new cover, so many recipes, started with Crisco or margarine. Yeah, but they didn't. I mean, that's all. They were probably promoted by Crisco. The history of all that stuff is so fascinating. Like the history of like how we transitioned from lard and animal fats into Crisco because they had to make Crisco be like lard. Basically, had to manufacture a fake lard. Is really what they did, and they sold it to people because they're like, "Do you want something that's clean, like from like sterile from a laboratory? Do you want something off a killing floor, like animals?" And people are like, "Oh, I want a clean kitchen." Oh, you know what I mean? Like the turn of the century, started having kitchens, appliances, electricity. So many things were huge factors in that. Let's see. Before I forget, I saw this. Just Jason Keto gifted one Keto Simple membership. Thank you so very much. I really, really, really do appreciate that. I'm not sure who got that membership, but if you got the membership, let me know so I can get you added to our banner here. Let me go ahead and pull this up. We do have a banner that comes across. I don't know if you guys can even see that. It's so small. Let's see. Let's see. Where am I at here? Yahel has found his at button. All right. All right. All right. Do you heal? All right. You did a good job there, buddy. I think I might have to try tracking. I don't even want to type what I ate today because I'm not going to try to trigger anyone. I had to watch my laptop from now on. I mean, you're always open to share. I do want to get you on and have you talk with everybody because you're a good friend. You guys were on one of my live streams or a podcast before. Um, Very interesting, good stuff. So go back and take a look at that. That was from a couple of years ago. I would pre-record them and then upload them. Um, I use Fairlife to make yogurt, says Shauna. Oh, you looked up Wingstop, and the bone-in wings only have 3 carbs, sugar, and that's in the flavors. Okay. All right. Teton Polish sausage, 450 off per pack at Costco. I might actually have to buy some this week. Heath calls the dirty eggs. Heath calls that dirty eggs. I think it's his favorite. I'm not sure what we're talking about. I get lost. Shauna, I used to have a keto channel with my friend. She was the keto one, and she made me the wings, or she told me the wings were keto. So that's why I know. I know nothing about what oil they use, though. And that probably wouldn't have impacted her very much anyway. But, you know, she was a type 1 diabetic and kept her A1C at 4.7 because she was like crazy on checking her blood sugars. She is a person that could have totally utilized a CGM. Um, I'm sure you want to know. I looked it up. Wingstop uses soybean oil and hydrogenated soybean oil to cook their wings. Yeah, it's definitely not a good thing, but it's not necessarily the end of the world if you don't go too often. Um, don't forget the crack, he says. I suppose it's just a choice I do. Let's see. I suppose Shauna says, I suppose it's just a choice. I do my best to eat at least 80 to 90% clean at home. So if I do go out, I have a little leeway. Yeah, 100%. That's the thing is I try to do that's my goal is to eat as low carb as possible, as much as possible. So if I do have stray things come in, it's not going to be the end of the world because the world isn't perfect. Nothing goes according to plan, and we're all just kind of out here making making the best of it, right? You never know if you're going to go through the drive-through and get a diet soda and take a huge long swig of that diet soda and it's the regular soda. It's going to happen. It happens to everybody. They make mistakes. Just like if you order a Coke Zero and they give you a Diet Coke, or you order whatever and they give you root beer or whatever, you know? These are things that just happen, right? Let's see. However, I cook a mean chicken wing at home in my air fryer. I I come by my YouTube name honestly. All right, air frying auntie. No challenges for me. I won't even do any for my channel. Not worth the stress. Yeah. Let's see. Ingenborg is asking if I do from Twitter. All right, somebody from Twitter. I don't get a lot of people from Twitter interacting, but I do not necessarily take a multivitamin, but I do take electrolytes. So I take calcium. It's a regimen. I mean, not it's not a daily thing. It goes based on how I feel. But I have calcium that has vitamin D in it, especially coming out of the wintertime where you're not getting a lot of sun. There's not a lot of available sun to get. Vitamin or the calcium with the vitamin D, potassium, magnesium, and I take um, apple cider vinegar tablets sometimes. But typically, I'm eating a lot of red meat and a lot of eggs, and I don't necessarily. So I don't take a multivitamin. I did in the beginning. I just took Centrum because I was just a holdover from so long. I don't think taking like a multivitamin is necessarily a bad thing. It could be. It's kind of one of those like just in case things, and I would say if that's something that you want to do, I don't really see a problem with taking a multivitamin, but I'm not a doctor. And I would say that you can take, there's different ways to get vitamins. You're going to get nutrient dense foods like beef and eggs and all that stuff are going to give you a huge amount of vitamins. I do try to take, as we do live in the Midwest, iodine because in the Midwest there's a lot of iodine deficiencies. So iodine drops in the coffee in the mornings, which I need to order some more because we have run out. So tri-tip is nearly done, she says. Uh, Done in my instant pot, then browning it off on the grill on my air fryer. She does love that air fryer. Okay, kiddos, I'm heading. I'm heading. Time for some sleep. Have a great evening, all. Thank you for being here, Sharon. We appreciate you so very much. Shauna says, whenever I hear the word challenge, my brain hears diet. And then it says you have failed on every diet. Challenges are a hard no. Yeah, I mean, and there could be good. There's good challenges because we need to be challenging ourselves. But I think when it comes to something like I'm going to do triple B and E for 30 days, last year or the year before or whatever it was, I tried to do triple B and E to like October from May. That was not a good thing to try to do because I failed like the next day. And then I feel bad about it. Jason says I got to head out. See you all tomorrow night. I'm on his live. Be sure to check him out. Go and support Jason. And he'll be back 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for my live on Saturday. Let's see. Jakarta's Indonesia. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Google, she says. It was her own recipe. It was handwritten and clipped from magazines. Yeah. Sherry Rogan, good night, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, Sherry. I appreciate you. Thank you for the great questions. Shauna says, good night, Sherry. Dirty eggs cooked in the leftover from, oh, yeah. I love that. I love it. Like, cause you get a little bit of that brown butter, and then like the residual fat from whatever you're cooking. And it's just probably more fat than you need. It is pretty delicious. So I don't know who picked up the gifted membership. Let me know if you picked that up because I don't know who picked it up. I don't know if there's anybody in here that because it typically will tell me who picked it up. Let me know in the comments if you got a membership because I know he gifted it, but I'm not seeing who got it because it'll typically tell you who got it. But anyway, we've been talking for a little over an hour. If you want me to keep going, keep those questions coming. Otherwise, I will go ahead and jump off here. I should probably go do some dishes or something, constructive with my time and do things around the house. But I don't mind talking with all of you wonderful people for a little bit longer. If you guys have questions or topics that you want to discuss, Mighty Healthy Michelle was gifted a membership by Just Jason Keto. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I don't even know if I saw her in the chat tonight. I don't even know how that works. I don't even know if you have to be in the chat to get a gifted membership. I thought it was somebody in the chat, but I don't know. Or they might have been watching and didn't and weren't commenting too. You never know. So I hope the person that was listening on Twitter got their answer of like didn't get to it fast enough and they moved on. Um, but yeah, so I do appreciate all of you who listening in on other platforms. I didn't go live on Facebook tonight. I just went live here and on YouTube and on Twitter just to kind of get an idea of what this will do. Jahil says, "People, let's ask Dustin some wild questions for fun. I'll start. Dustin, have you ever gotten in trouble for putting on a naughty car wash for cash that shocked the neighbors?" Well, no. I'm not against it, but I don't know if I want to wash a bunch of cars either. Called out. Yeah. I don't know. I've never been involved in one of those car washes. I remember though that my friend's dad taught me how to wash a car. It was a weird situation. I don't even know how I ended up being out there with him and he showed me how to wash the car. He's like, "You wash the entire car, but you always wash like underneath like there's always that like on the door panel, there's always that like bottom part. You always want to wash that last just because it gets all the road grime and like the rocks stuck to it. So you always want to wash that last." You said to ask questions, that's what you get. I'm open to whatever you want to ask me. Just be prepared that I may not have a decent answer for what your question just because I am kind of boring. Our youth groups used to do car washes. Yeah. I'll see car washes. I'll see them. I see them in schools will do them and they're doing fundraisers and stuff like that. I'll see them around the town and stuff. But you know, yeah. I do know that like if you get a Tesla, you got to like hand wash. You can't really go through automatic car washes anymore because there's no like neutral in a Tesla. High school bands, yeah, like science clubs, cheerleading, all that stuff. They always do those type of things. But you guys out there in YouTube land, I keep doing these because I know that this shows up in the short shelf. I just don't know how easy it is to find it. I don't know if you're just scrolling and if you come across it, if you're we've had 26 to 30 some people watching at any given time. So that's pretty impressive for me. So maybe I will start doing these later in the evening at 9 o'clock at night. I know that's a little more in line with you, Shauna, since that's like 6 o'clock your time. So it's not super late for you. I don't even know what your schedule is during the week, but East Coast people, 9 o'clock is not super late, but we're coming up after 10 o'clock now, like 10:15. So you know how it goes. Oh, yeah. But did you see the community tab that I posted today? So I had Dave Dana on the other day. A couple of weeks ago, I had Dave Dana sit down with me for a Saturday morning sit down with me, and he hung out with Arnold Schwarzenegger today or yesterday, one of the two. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a person that's been like kind of like picked up on his Twitter, has been retweeting him and sending him videos, telling him to keep up the good work. And my younger elementary school self is DED because I was the biggest Arnold Schwarzenegger fan of all time, and I would love to be able to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger. But Heel says, "Ooh, tell us what you were like in high school. I had a friends group the whole time. Was overweight a little senior year. Did some wild stuff. Wasn't popular, but I never thought about that because I was happy. So for me, in high school, middle school, high school, I was not a popular kid. Um, I actually in high school I had like kind of like a small core group of friends. Actually, I had Jason, Robbie, Colin, and a couple of others. Um, actually, Friday, my buddy Robbie, his mom passed away last week, so we're having a funeral for her. They are having a funeral for her on Friday that I'll be attending. But I wasn't a very popular person. I was, to be honest, I was a tryhard. I wanted to be involved. I wanted to be included, and I wanted to be a part of people, and I wanted to do all of that. So I had a very tough time communicating. I wasn't good at getting my thoughts across. I wasn't good at talking with girls or really talking with anybody for that matter. I was just so amped and ready to go at any given time that I just had a lot of trouble actually putting my thoughts out there, which is a little strange now. I mean, even to this day, I still have some trouble getting my thoughts out. It wasn't until after high school that I really started to kind of pick up. Um, I started doing stuff. I started being in bands, playing guitar in bands, started playing shows, started meeting other bands, promotions, booking shows, did a little bit of A&R work, trying to scout bands and promote bands and do all that stuff. So that really propelled me. And you have to be kind of a good person. You have to be able to talk. Like there's been times when I get called up on stage and have to talk to people about whatever band promotion and that kind of stuff at the time, asking questions and things like that, or being asked questions like a panel type thing. So that kind of led me to being a little bit better of a public speaker. Um, Honestly, AOL and chat rooms was a big part of all of that for me as well. It gave me an opportunity to be able to put my thoughts out in a concise sort of way, dealing with the economy of words, if you will, and not just kind of rambling like I do here. I could be a little bit better, but again, going live and talking for an hour or more, you just kind of have to go with the flow and just kind of talk about whatever. Jahil says, oh, I always lived here in central Indiana. So I was Indianapolis, Indiana, all the way through. I didn't move away from my childhood kind of stomping grounds until I was 21 years old. So then I moved into an apartment with my girlfriend, and then she broke up with me about a year later. And then I had like in the course of 4 years, like 11 roommates. Then I moved back in with my mom and grandma after that when I was about 24, 25 years old to help them. My mom and my grandma was getting older, my mom was getting older. My mom ended up having strokes, heart attacks, and I was just involved with taking care of her. Um, I was big. I wasn't as big as I was after school, but I was always the chubby kid and always had difficulties. Like or middle school, I wore sweatpants and sweatshirts all the time and t-shirts, and I was always afraid that because at the time in middle school I was wearing a 2XL shirt, and I was afraid, well, what am I going to do if like I can't find shirts at Kohl's or wherever? How am I going to find clothes to fit me? So that was always something that was always weighted on me. So let's see here. Jahil says, moved to New Jersey for high school, used to live in New York before that. Shauna says, high school was a nightmare for me. I was painfully shy and tried to be invisible. Yeah, I mean, that's even to this day. Like, there's not a lot of pictures of me before because I was just always on the other side of the camera If I was the one taking the pictures, I couldn't be in the picture and then see myself later and be disgusted at what I saw. So there's just such a few amount of before pictures of me. I mean, my mom was huge at getting my pictures taken when I was a kid. There's albums and albums and albums of me as a toddler in the garage. Very few pictures of my 20s into my 30s of what I used to look like. It just wasn't a thing. I just didn't step in front of the camera because I didn't like myself. Let's see. But oddly, sang in the choir. I think we had to, like, middle school, we had to sing in choir. So that was the thing I did in middle school. We had to sing in choir, but as a baritone, stood in the back. So that wasn't so bad. Let's see. Drama. So go figure, and numbers, I suppose. Once I lost weight, people paid attention more. By then, I didn't care. Even the popular jock at school talked to me, and I was like, okay. Oh, and I liked all the art stuff and math. You like public speaking, Dustin? That's my worst nightmare. It is used to be something that I was terrified of doing, is getting up in front of people and speaking. Like, even I was like, so one of the things on the survey that Autumn sends out after KPL is, ideas. And I was thinking, since there are so many YouTubers that are involved with Keto Palooza, I was like, it would be cool if there was like the first hour of speakers could be like, say, 6 10-minute presentations or whatever, give or take 8-minute presentations or whatever, because you got to get people in and on and off stage. Um, and I was thinking that, if people who could, make sure that tickets were sold and be involved and all that stuff, that would be something that could be done. I don't, it's obviously not going to be something that happens. It's just not logistically sound for the timeline of Keto Palooza. But it was something that I did put out there, and I was thinking to myself as I was writing it, why am I doing this? Why do I want to be up on stage in front of 350 people talking? And then I realized, like, I can do one of these lives and look back at the analytics and see that over the course of an hour, 600 or 700 people have watched me talk. But it's just me staring at me. I'm looking at me. I see your names, but I'm not looking at people. I'm not looking at people shifting in their seats or making, kind of, are people looking at their phone or people not paying attention. There's a lot of variables. There's a lot of moving parts with that. But, wow, I'm old. AOL wasn't until I was out of high school. So I got into AOL in 1996. That's when AOL went unlimited. I had a friend that would come over and he had an AOL account, and it was you paid by the minute or the hour. And he would come over and we would look online and do different things. And it wasn't till it went unlimited where I got my own account. And that's like when it blew up. And then, like, you would get 5 AOL CDs a week in your mail. Even if you were a subscriber to AOL, you were still getting CDs out the wazoo every week for AOL. So I was just huge. Like, I learned how to type through AOL. I learned because I was a terrible typist. Like, in school, I couldn't type to save my life. Now, I mean, now typing is just one of those things that if you can't type, you know what I mean? You just kind of have to. Maybe not now, I guess, with phones. Now it's more swiping, unless you have an iPhone. Does iPhone even have swipe yet? I've never had an iPhone. I've always been an Android or a BlackBerry guy. Um, but yeah, so it was like, for me, it was typing, and then I learned to type, and then I was just learning, picking up social skills, how to talk to people, how to be able to communicate effectively. I mean, I could probably still utilize some more effective communication skills, but um, Jahil says he wishes he would have learned to sing in school. I was in choir, but I don't think I ever learned to sing. I can match pitch, but doesn't mean I sound good. Um, let's see. Air frying. Auntie Shana says, well, this might sound, but I pretty much sang since I could talk. AOL started right when I was in high school. I remember waiting overnight to get one picture. Oh yeah, I remember I had to get a picture, I had to find a picture of myself because you wanted to send people pictures of yourself. So there was no avatars, there was not, it was just a screen name and there were no avatars, there was no pictures. I went and I took a picture to Kinko's and scanned it in and they put it on a floppy disk and I came home and had to put it on my computer so that way I could share it. We were like, "Ooh, what do you look like? What do you look like?" Because before then it was just no avatars. I mean, look, you can see what Jahil looks like. You can see what Shauna looks like. You can obviously see what I look like. But there was none of that back then. It was just talking to somebody without any of the other stuff. I mean, it was like, ASL, age, sex, location, there's a lot of that weird stuff. You just talk to people. Shauna says, I have less than a dozen childhood pictures. I have like six full photo albums of just me as a toddler from birth to like 5 or 6 years old. My mom was a crazy person and she would just take me to Sears or Kmart or whoever was having a sale on their photography that week or whatever it was that month or whatever. It's it's kind of crazy, just ridiculous. And my brother doesn't have that many, but I did. And I mean, I'm 4 years older than my brother, but yeah, that was a pastime my mom had was taking me to get my picture taken. And I remember, I mean, I just have memories of getting our picture taken, sitting up on the thing and then getting to putting your feet, it's just weird. Just weird. I sang a solo at high school. Um, in front of the entire class. Most people even hadn't heard me speak. I don't have, and Jahil says, I don't have many pictures either in general. I threw them out or other people took them and didn't give them to you. And Shauna says, oh, I like that idea at KPL. That would, I mean, it would be interesting. It would be kind of nice because I think that there is a social media presence at KPL. And I don't even know, like, there's so many people who will be there who won't know who I am. And I mean, that's okay. That's not what KPL was for. But I mean, it is for a community. But you know, I'm still gonna like tell people to go and check out KPL, go to ketopalooza.com and try and get a ticket. It is in Louisville in October, 3 days. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Jahil, I would be cool if you went to Keto Palooza. But hang out, have a good time. Jahil says to Shauna, that sounds cool. Only singing I have ever done in public is karaoke. I've never done karaoke. I hope there's no footage of that anywhere. I have footage of Shander doing karaoke. So if anybody wants to send me a large sum of money, I will make sure you get to see those videos. Otherwise, she will. If she doesn't get some money out of it, she'll be mad. I was gonna post it on Facebook the other day because it came up in some memories from like 4 or 5 years ago, and she was like, "Do not share that with anybody." And if you're gonna pay me, we can talk about it. Um, Chandra loves singing karaoke. Jahil, you need to come in town and sing karaoke with Chandra. She'd love it. Shauna says she graduated high school in 1985. I graduated in 1998. Thanks to keto, I really look younger than my friends from high school. Jahil says, Dustin, did you ever chat in the AOL chat rooms? Yes. I was in the Marilyn Manson chat room a lot, Nine Inch Nail chat room a lot. Um, I'm sure there was other ones. I can't remember, but I had like I had an online girlfriend at one point in time. Her name, what was her name? Her name was Denise, and she lived in Corpus Christi, Texas. And then I had a girlfriend named Lizzie who lived in Buffalo, New York. I never met either one of them. I mean, obviously, I lived in Indianapolis, Indiana, and how do you a 17-year-old boy getting to Texas or to Buffalo, New York? I mean, how does that even work, right? Um, I graduated in 2000, said Jahil. People thought the world was going to blow up back then and all computers were going to fail. Well, then 2001 happened. But I remember Y2K because I went out on New Year's Eve that night. We went to a show because I was again into bands and stuff, and there was a show called Y2K, and like everybody was so freaked out. It was like a local band show, like local metal show, local heavy rock show, and there were like wands, like the security wands and stuff. We never did that, but they were all worried that somebody was going to do something because it was the end of the world in 1999 and all that stuff. But it all just went off without a hitch. It was a lot of fun. Um, let's see. The highlight was your screen name. Dustin, did your mom have you take so many pictures because she was secretly selling them to the paparazzi? I have no idea. I don't know what I wish I could ask her like what her thought process was on taking and having me taking so many pictures. Like my grandma's gone now. I can ask my aunt, but I don't even know if my aunt would really understand. I mean, back then it was a thing to get people together and have pictures taken. We don't do that anymore. I mean, we do take pictures all the time now. So I guess that's kind of why. But I mean, there's like family pictures of people like with my great grandparents and my grandmother and grandfather when they were still married, and my mom and my aunt and her husband and all the grandkids that were around at the time and all that stuff. There was just weird family photos of that kind of stuff that you don't see now. I mean, you do if you're at a function or something. Like we have like a family picture, well, minus one kid from Disney, a bunch of Disney pictures, But yeah, I don't know. My second year, Shauna says, my second year, I sang karaoke at KPL, one with a group and one solo, sang Hallelujah, but ugh, the nerves. Uncle Big Guy says he's an old man, graduated in 1981. I was alive in 81. I was pooping in my pants. Jahil says, people think I'm in my early 30s when I tell them that I'm 41. They look at me like I'm dead already. I did ask a 5-year-old a few months ago how old I look, and he said 60. People look at me and I'm like, when I'm out with the granddaughter and like, how old is she? How old's your daughter? I'm like, she's 5 and she's my granddaughter. And Shannon like, you guys are grandparents? How are you old enough to be grandparents? Well, Chandra had her daughter at 18. That's how. Then 18 years later, granddaughter. Oh, let's see. Um, Shauna says, I remember college. A friend had a very large computer with a bulletin board forum. He sent a message to a moonlighting board. All of us were so shocked when they got a reply 4 minutes later. Like the TV show Moonlighting? Because I watched the first episode of that. I wouldn't mind watching more. Usually, if people don't know, they don't guess my age. Yeah, I mean, I guess my beard is more gray in person, so I don't know how old people think I am. But yeah, that's message boards are kind of cool. Like there's still like a ketogenic forum that Richard and Carl put on that I'm still subscribed to. But I used to log in every single day, and I haven't logged in a year probably now. So yes, moonlighting 4 minutes later. That's crazy. You look like 7, maybe even 6. 60? Yeah, I get that. 70? Yeah. OMG. That message board was like 1987, I think. The idea that there was message boards in 1987 is like hard to believe because I don't even know like when I was involved in my first message board. I was involved with there was a couple of message boards that I was into in like the mid 2000s. There was an Emerson Theater message board, which was like the local venue where most bands played around here. There was a message board for that. There was an indie hardcore board that I was involved with, which is like the hardcore scene, like the Indianapolis hardcore scene. And then there was there used to be a Clutch message board. So this band that I love called Clutch, and they had a message board. I don't even think they still have it anymore. It was called Sassafras Grove, and they used to be a lot of fun. You can go in there and like that all like all kinds like tour dates and things, and you can get in there and talk about all kinds of stuff at different designated places, like a message board does. But yeah, what's my favorite decade so far? Jahil asked me. Oh, I think back and look back with like rose colored glasses of like the 80s into the 90s when I was a kid, when I had like no like responsibilities, when like you just go outside and play till the sun went down, and then you just go in and watch TV and and go to school and have summer vacations, and you didn't have a lot to worry about. There was no like, no, there was just so much to not worry about. I think that's uh I think that's one of the biggest things for me. But I think with that, I will go ahead and knock off. I think it's we've been doing this for an hour and 35, 36 minutes. Um I appreciate all you being here. Those who have commented, those who are just watching. It's like only 3 of you are commenting right now. There's 27 people watching, but I appreciate each and every one of you. If you have found value with this talk, look into checking out the rest of the channel, the recipes, our other lives. Shannon and I go live on Tuesdays at 7. I do this on Wednesdays. It looks like I'll be doing it at 9 o'clock now. Then Sunday or Saturday mornings, I usually go live between 8 a.m. and 9 and maybe 10 a.m., depending on where the guest lives. And we'll have a guest. This week, again, is just Jason Keto. So be on the lookout for that at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Sundays, I go live just to hang out and talk about whatever's going on with me and have coffee. Like this time was mostly about self sabotage, and then it kind of became into whatever we want to talk about. Show up, let me know what you're thinking, help dictate the conversation, help spread the conversation, help grow the community. We know there's a lot of people out there who could use some of this information as help to help them find their way into a better life. So be sure to do all that stuff, spread this out, share with your friends. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to all of you who come in and chat with me. Those of you who are members, Jason for gifting a membership. And I love your faces. And I'll see you Saturday morning.